The Last of Us Online is gone. Let's see.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. So many of you may know that Naughty Dog has been working on this Last of Us standalone multiplayer experience that goes beyond just being a multiplayer mode. It was going to be this whole live service, essentially. They kind of talked about it last year during Summer Game Fest back in June.
Oh no, another live service that is gonna live service us because it's a live service and live services live service you is gone. The tragedy. How will I ever recover with -1 to the already millions of existing bad live services? Oh, say it ain't so. I want it to be live serviced so bad.
June 9th, 2022, when Jeff Keighley showed off this concept art, and they promised it was going to have its own story, and it was going to be a full-fledged game with very ambitious plans behind it. But then we began to see reports that there might be trouble in paradise. Earlier this year, on May 26, 2023, Jason Schreier, investigative reporter at Bloomberg, reported that Naughty Dog has significantly scaled down the team on its Last of Us multiplayer project, sources say. The article in question on Bloomberg delves into further details about how development for this multiplayer game has slowed down, that a bunch of developers have been taken away from this team and have moved on to other projects while a small group remains on it. And while at the time the game had not been canned,
taken away and moved on does not fit in one sentence. Dude.
sold Sony, PlayStation, and Naughty
That's
Dog
good.
were reevaluating this project's direction. And this had in large part to do with feedback that Naughty Dog got from Bungie, who is now a part of Sony and PlayStation. Bungie is the development studio behind one of the biggest live services right now, Destiny, which
one of the biggest milk factories of all time, baby, okay? If there's one thing Destiny does, it's milks the player base. Man, they have the 2000 milker extremer right there. It's on 24/7 and the cow's already dry, not gonna lie. But they keep on doing it. Oh man, if Bungie does one thing good, it's not make games, it's milk people. So, wow.
which is in large part why Sony acquired Bungie, because they not only obviously wanted to acquire new IPs and the like, but also they wanted Bungie's expertise because Sony wants to do.
No, they didn't, you absolute hack. They took over Bungie because Sony saw the writing on the wall that Bungie is incompetent. There you go. That's pretty much it. No one buys a multi-billion-dollar company because they think it's doing good, okay? They buy it because they think it's doing poorly and the leadership is incompetent, okay? Sony doesn't care about Bungie's magical expertise.
Delve more into live services, and when Sony asked Bungie to take a look at this Last of Us multiplayer project, they apparently questioned this project's ability to keep players engaged for a long period of time, which is what led to the reassessment. Now, at the time,
yeah, because Destiny's doing such a good time. Yeah, because Destiny's doing such a good time at keeping people engaged. Destiny is a one-of-a-kind, unique monopoly on the marketplace because there's nothing like it. And it's still losing players because Bungie is doing such a terrible job. There is no other game on the market that even comes close to the experience that Destiny provides as a whole. The closest probably is Warframe, and then the conversion rate is maybe 20%. At best, I would probably say. But Destiny is still a 100% unique, futuristic shooter looter. There's nothing even close to it, okay? So, if Bungie is so good, how are they still managing to lose players? How are they losing players?
Naughty Dog gave no signs of plans to shut this project down. They said that we've realized what is best for the game is to give it more time. Our team will continue to work on the project. And so the assumption was that it may take a while for this to come out, but The Last of Us Online, or this, Factions 2, whatever it would have ended up being called, would eventually launch. But then came this announcement from Naughty Dog itself on December 14th, 2023. They published on Twitter the following tweet: an update on The Last of Us Online, linking to a Naughty Dog blog post that has the following statement: "We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we have been calling The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We have made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on that game. We know this news will be tough for many, especially our dedicated The Last of Us factions community. Plenty of people love the multiplayer mode that accompanied the first The Last of Us, and they've wanted to see an expansion of that, and many were hoping that this Last of Us Online experience would be it. But now it looks like enjoyers of a multiplayer Last of Us experience will either have to wait significantly longer for maybe a reduced scope like multiplayer mode, or we may just not get another Last of Us multiplayer ever again." So yeah, understandably, those folks will feel really bummed.
The Last of Us was good, but it wasn't this groundbreaking, the best thing ever. It was just really, 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 really good. And people remember it with such rose-tinted goggles, honestly.
Bummed down and disappointed. The statement continues: "We know this news will be tough for many, especially our dedicated The Last of Us factions community who have been following our multiplayer ambitions ardently. We're equally crushed at the studio as we were looking forward to putting it in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background of how we came to this decision. The multiplayer team has been in pre-production with this game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2, crafting an experience we felt was unique and had tremendous potential. As the multiplayer team iterated on their concept for The Last of Us Online during this time, this vision crystallized, the gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we were enthusiastic about the direction in which we were headed. In ramping up to full production..."
Yeah, sounds too good, then why did you stop? I mean, if it's this good, if everything's so clear, cheeky peeky, then why stop? It makes no sense. It's gonna probably be resumed.
The massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting the development on future single-player games. So basically, they couldn't have Team A making more traditional Naughty Dog single-player games and Team B leading...
Okay, so you're telling me Naughty Dog is one of those rare few exceptions that understand that live services are not free money? I talked about this previously, but people still need to hear it. People still don't understand. When the live services first came out, they were a literal money pit of infinity built in possibilities. But then other people started noticing that, wait a minute, these live service things are printing money, and they started making them. And guess what? As always, the early adopters of something make a lot of money. And so everyone started making live services. And with that much competition, the old ones that were printing money were no longer printing money. And now everyone understands, wait a minute, if you want live service to not fail miserably, then you need to update pretty much a new expansion for it every month almost at this point, depending on the genre of game. And if you don't update a live service constantly not add minor new content, new things, events and stuff like that, it's a disaster. It just doesn't work out. It just fails. So yeah, I think Naughty Dog were one of the rare ones that were smart enough to understand, wait a minute, if we make a live service thing, that means that we're going to have to non-stop develop it for the rest of our lives, unless we want it to crash and burn instantly. Wow.
The charge on this Last of Us live service mode, the scope of Last of Us Online became such that essentially all of Naughty Dog would have had to participate in the long-term development of this game, so they had two paths in front of them: become a solely live service game studio or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. We are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched this project. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects and will be invaluable in the direction we're headed as a studio. We have more than one ambitious, brand new single-player game that we're working on here at Naughty Dog, and we cannot wait to share more about what comes next when we're ready.
Nice.
Until then, we're incredibly thankful to our community for your support throughout the years. So basically...
I was in front of Yongi Yayi, but that's fine. I think he's not going to take it to heart. It is what it is.
Came down to, with the limited resources that we have, we could either just put all of ourselves into just this one live service game, or we can keep making the games that we're better known for making and that they likely prefer to make, which is story-driven, campaign-driven, highly ambitious.
Is Naughty Dog A privately held enterprise?
Player experiences. And when framed that way, while
Because you can't say no as a publicly traded company to uh, games as a service.
it definitely sucks that this project
Nice.
was announced, got people's hopes up, and got
I never heard
canceled, and
about
no
it.
doubt the development team also are really disappointed at this outcome. I will say that I kind of respect that Naughty Dog is sticking to what they're good at instead of becoming, another studio that just tries to lean into live services, something that they don't specialize in, and potentially fail at it, or, just kind of change the identity of the studio. We've seen what happens when studios who are not accustomed to making live service games, who are inexperienced, go all in on that route. We've seen BioWare, who are traditionally single-player RPG makers, try to make Anthem this hugely ambitious.
I don't know about that. What has BioWare done in the last... Okay, name 5 of the last BioWare games that were a success. You can't, because you're probably thinking, oh, the first Mass Effect or something like that. That's right. BioWare is a failure nowadays. Nothing else.
This live service action shooter that ended up failing massively. We've seen Crystal Dynamics, who are known for their action adventure games, try to helm this live service Marvel's Avengers game that completely flopped. With Naughty Dog, at least it looks like they were given a choice, and they chose to be what they specialize at. They chose to retain their identity and their heritage and continue to make what they're best at without question, which is to make those high budget, high fidelity.
You know what? I don't believe that. It's hard for me to believe that Naughty Dog would be in favor of, that, not money.
Cinematic, interactive experiences that they're specialized at, and that I think they should continue to lean towards. As Jason Schreier himself pitted lots of examples in modern video game history of single-player companies pivoting to multiplayer with unfortunate results, looks like Naughty Dog won't be one of them. And for my part, that makes me happy, because Naughty Dog's talent would be completely wasted if the studio were to shift to live service.
When was the last time Naughty Dog even made a game? No, seriously, when was it? Did they make something cool and I missed it? Can someone comment about that? Maybe I missed something cool, I don't know. But, having one game, The Last of Us, and then The Last of Us The Incredible Hulk Returns is not a good track record. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't exactly bode confidence to me that you're really good at what you claim you are.
Only because there's just nobody who tells interactive stories the way that Naughty Dog does. And look, I know that The Last of Us Part 2 was controversial in its storytelling and all these things, but there are a lot of impressive aspects about that game. There are a lot of boundaries that game pushed when it comes to like presentation and visual fidelity, and there's no denying that the way they capture actors' performances and the way they make everything just so incredibly cinematic, it's like there are areas where they're definitely, pushing boundaries, and I want them to try to continue to do so, not just with The Last of Us, but also other new IPs that they're working on. Naughty Dog is apparently working on this new IP that's fantasy setting, and they're going to try to do something with that, and that could be really cool. I mean, The Last of Us was them trying something new, and it worked out wonderfully after Uncharted became successful, so I am so down.
Oh, yeah, right. They have Uncharted. I forgot about that. Oh. Okay, at least they have good stuff, I guess. I don't know. I don't... Honestly, I don't care if a company is known for being good or bad. The reality is these companies are as worth as their last successful games or last failures. And that's all that I care about, okay? There's a game that has... there's a company that has made X type of game for a long time and been successful. Have a chance to make a good next game like that. Yeah! But if they swap it up, I don't know if it will translate. Who knows? It's always the roll of the dice, honestly, in game development. So, it is what it is. Anyway, this was Sensei. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't thought anything. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.